Hello and welcome to the Big Dumb Networking Dude channel. Today we are going to take a look at installing Identity Service Engine ISE baby, on Proxmox. Now, quick disclaimer, ISE is technically not supported on Proxmox. That's not one of the listed hypervisors. As of right now, I believe it's just Hyper-V, ESXi, and KVM, but Proxmox is KVM based, so it actually does work pretty well. I have, up until about 2 weeks ago, I had ISE running for about an entire year on my Proxmox environment until that imploded upon itself. So I know it works. I know it works very well. And today, like I said, we're going to go ahead and get that installed. So we'll jump into that right now. First thing we got to do, go ahead and fire up your favorite browser and go ahead and get over to software.cisco.com, and we're going to be looking for Identity and Service Engine software, which is ISE. And for this tutorial, I am going to be installing 3.4, this ISO right here. As you can see, the current gold star is 3.3, but like most things in this channel, we usually like to go an iteration above gold star. So go ahead and get that downloaded. It is 14 gigs, so depending on your internet connection, that might take a minute. And once it is downloaded, we're going to want to get that over to our Proxmox server. So as I've mentioned, I think in previous videos, anything over 5 gigs, I seem to have a real heck of a time going through the Proxmox GUI. So I'm going to use FileZilla. You can use SCP, however you want to get that image over to your Proxmox server, but the path you're going to be looking for is the var lib vz template ISO. That is the same container that if you were to do it through the GUI, that it would get uploaded in. And as you can see, I've already done that to try to cut down on some time. So let's pop over to Proxmox. Let's just go ahead and verify that we do have, and we do, we got ISE right there, and Catalyst Center. Could that be some foreshadowing? I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But that's not what we're here. We're here for ISE. So I'm going to go ahead and say create a VM. One thing I want to note real quick, if you've followed any of the other videos in my channel that has to do with Cisco gear, such as like FMC or FTD, you usually have to essentially upload your image and then create a disk from that. This we don't have to. We can use the ISO directly in this deployment. So let's go ahead and give this a name. I'll call it ISE Home. I'll call it ISE Lab. And then we want to select the ISO image that we need. That is our ISE. System. We should be good here with the default of cBIOS and the VirtIO for the SCSI controller. Disk. So per Cisco's guidance on this, it recommends something between 300 and 2.4 terabytes of disk space, depending on your use case. This is going to be in a pretty small lab, so I'm going to just give it I'll give it 400. I've got 6 terabytes on this server right now, so I'm not necessarily hurting for that. Next, we got to choose our CPU, and here it depends on our deployment size, what we want to go with. So Cisco does have a little bit of a breakdown. So a small appliance, ISE appliance, would be 16 CPUs, 16 gigs of RAM, or no, sorry, 32 gigs of RAM. And then a medium would be 24 CPUs and 96 gigs of RAM. And then a large would be 24 CPUs and 256 gigs of RAM. And again, it is very much dependent on what this is going to be used for. I am going to be running all the different ISE personas on this. So, your manager, your profiler, everything else is going to be this one standalone box. But again, like I said, it's going to be a pretty small lab environment. So I'm going to go with a small deployment. So got 2 sockets. say 8 per socket for 16 altogether. And like I've done in some other videos when it comes to Cisco stuff, it doesn't necessarily call out that your architecture needs to be set to host. I've just found that that usually works best, so I'm going to go ahead and set it to host. And then now we need to select our memory, and of course I cannot do math right now, so I'm just gonna let Google do that for me. What do we got here? 32768. That was pathetic, I know. Network. So for your network here, you can have up to 6 NICs associated with your ISE appliance. I am only going to be doing 2 on mine. I'm going to have, my first one is going to be my VMBR0. That is my management network that, you know, Proxmox and some other things are on. And then I'm going to include a second NIC in here that is within that same VLAN that I usually have a lot of my management stuff that my Cisco modeling labs runs on. So for this, I'm going to leave it at that, and then I'll add the other NIC here in a second. That looks all good to me. I'll go ahead and hit finish. I'll go up here and I will add one more NIC to it. CML 12, that is the VLAN 12 that I use in a lot of my CML stuff, so that is what we're going to use there. And then I will come up here and I'm going to start this bad boy. Now, this is a very heavy node, essentially, so there's going to be a lot of waiting for things to spin up, so I will probably be pausing or fast forwarding a lot throughout this video, but let's go ahead and get this going. We'll go ahead and set 1 for keyboard and monitor. And we are back. That was about 33 minutes of waiting condensed into like 10 seconds. So let's go ahead and get this set up. As part of the setup, we are going to be, you know, configuring the host name, network mask, default gateway, DNS name, NTP, and all that good stuff. So let's go. We type in setup here. Enter the host name. So we will call this ISE-lab-1. Oh, could we have more ISE nodes? Probably not, but that's what we'll name it. IP address for this, I'm going to go 10.11.11.2. That's a /27. That is my management network for most of the things within my house and lab. Netmask. What is that? Is that 255, 255, 255, 248? Or is it 242? That is the $1 million question. /27. 224. Not even close. Swing and a miss. 224. Jesus. All right. Default gateway. No, I do not. Default DNS domain. We'll do cloud connected.cloud. Name server. We do not have any name servers here because this is a brand new Proxmox deployment right now, because my other one died. So we will do umbrella 208.67.220.220. Add a secondary. Yep, let's do 208.67.220.220. 222.222. No, we don't need a third. Time.nist.gov, love it. Add another, no. Time zone, I am EST. Enable SSH service. Why not? I might need to, I can do everything from this console, so we'll say no. We'll say no on the SSH service. Username, we'll go admin. Password, wouldn't you like to know? Let's see. Re-enter that. So if I remember correctly, I think we're going to reboot after this, and then it will be another waiting game for all of the services to come up. I feel like the first time it ever comes online takes a little bit longer than the other times, but you know, they could be pretty much the same. So we'll go ahead and wait here for a minute. Cool, so after another 45 minutes to an hour, we are finally back. ISE is rebooted. We are prompted with our login screen. Let's go ahead and check the application statuses to ensure everything is up and running and we can actually log into the GUI. So we'll go admin. And then let's do show application status ISE, not use, ISE. All right, let's see. Yeah, we're looking in pretty good shape. One of the ones I found that take sometimes longer than others to come up is the application server here. There's been times too where I've had to like almost manually start it, but it looks like we're good here. So let's go ahead and see if we can log into that. That's HTTPS and 10.11.11.2.22. Nice. So it is up and running. Let's make sure we can log in. Provide that later. Yep, we'll do our 90 days trial, and there we go. We are up and running. Looks like this does have a little bit of the new dashboard, so I do like that. Obviously, we have nothing configured. There's a lot more to go into this to get this up and running, but for this video's sake, I think we are done here. And that's it. Super simple install. The biggest thing you need here is just time to do it because there is a lot of hurry up and waiting. But once you do finish the install, you are, rewarded with a perfectly working icebox. Also, to kind of note, you probably saw in the video, I kind of hinted at having Catalyst Center already locked and loaded from an ISO perspective on Proxmox, and that will probably be my next video, is getting that installed, and that is something I actually plan on leaving up and working with for quite some time within my lab to make some additional videos on, so it is not just going to be like the art of possible. We are actually going to get some use out of that. But until I can put that video out, why don't you guys just go ahead and keep labbing and stay classy.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!